So earlier today, I was playing a little bit of Empire down in the room below here, um, and just trying to build my little imps up, and or my imp and my berserker and my priest and whatnot. Could you just how do you because Empire is quite a complex game when you think about it. It's kind of hard to explain. What do you say is the sort of the short of it?
Okay, make something very long, very short. Okay, basically, I can describe it as it's half a dungeon management game and half RTS with some RPG elements. So basically, you build up your dungeon, you create corridors, you create some rooms to spawn units and stuff. Heroes will come and try to trash your dungeon. As much your dungeon grows, more powerful heroes gets in, but it doesn't stop here. You go outside your dungeon. There's two ways to go outside your dungeon. The first one is to send your squads through raids. So basically you send them on a special world map that you will send them get some resources, for instance, food, material, treasures and stuff like that. And also, right beside your dungeon, you have different areas. So while the story is progressing, you will visit different locations in Ardennes. And what's happening is that you will make new settlements, for instance, and you will, for instance, be at Grove Urtat, where you have the dwarves, and you will go to a forest where there's elves, for instance, and things like that. So you need to explore, to do some mission. You have different quests and different things that is happening story-wise, but you need always to be on your toes because your dungeon is always exposed to heroes. So you really need to work with those two big elements.
So the dungeon management sort of genre had sort of its heydays in the 90s, I think it's fair to say, and sort of gotten a little bit quiet since, and perhaps we're sort of at a point where a lot of old PC sort of types of games are getting their revival. What do you feel that Empire sort of builds on that sort of that experience that people are used to with the dungeon management?
Well, I think that of course, we will get, the old-timers that used to, love Dungeon Keeper and things like that. But also, at the same time, we are taking so much from different influence for different genre. For instance, like, we really like Dawn of War. So, the squad-based battle and things like that, we integrated that into it. So, I think yes, we might be riding that kind of wave of revival and new stuff like that, but at the same time, Empire is not a revival of the Dungeon Keeper type of game. It's really something of our own and stands out because, especially since we are really working outside the dungeon most of the time. So I think it's really special in its own way.
So you talked about influences as well.
Yeah.
I understand you've been adding a lot of heavy metal references into the game. Can you tell us a little bit about how that came to be, and sort of, because it's not something you think of when you think of Ardennes, is it?
No. Actually, I am a huge metalhead. The writer of Empire, Matthias Johnson, is a big metal fan too, and Frederick is also from Paradox, is also a metal fan. So we just ended up like saying, okay. We're trying to find some jokes and, by writing the script and stuff, and it just came in naturally. Like, we were just talking about that, hey, we could plug that there. Hey, isn't that the name of a song of Guns N' Roses? Yeah, it is. And then it just built up, and we ended up having like 400 references of metal in the game.
So, and you counted every one of them?
Actually, I have it myself, but I think that someone did, and it's near the 400 references. So there's a thin layer of metal in almost all the different dialogues in the game.
It's a good thing it's not a short game then, because that would have been kind of crazy.
Yeah, the game is quite long. It takes over like 25 hours to finish in campaign mode. Yes.
But you also have multiplayer, which I think was a very interesting thing to have for this kind of game.
Yes.
Can you talk us through a little bit how the setup is there for multiplayer?
Well, we have many types of multiplayer games. For instance, Capture the Dragon. It's like a Capture the Flag, a King of the Hill. The way it is played, you can go up to 4 players at the same time. So each player have his own dungeon. He can see his own dungeon, and he's, like in the campaign, protects it against heroes, construct room, corridors, and things like that. But you have on the battlefield a common, that's a common ground where all the player will meet up. So you can trash like all the players like in a big royal rumble in the middle of the dungeon, and there's many different type of dungeons that that goes with many different type of gameplay. So the possibilities, that the way that we build the game, they are endless. It's really interesting for that.
So where do you strike the sort of the balance between units having sort of a mind of their own and doing things on their own, and sort of having player do something extra and controlling and sort of that sort of thing? Where does that land in Empire?
Okay, at first, like we were aiming at having them really in a sim-like type of gameplay, that they are pretty much doing their own things. But the more we play the game, the more we realize that the team, we were more RTS guys than the sim type. So and we try different things, and in the end we just happened to just, you know, find that right balance. So the workers are pretty much acting on their own. You assign them to rooms, and after that they work. But all the combat units, it's like an RTS.
So but there's a lot to control in Empire. So it sort of feels a little bit overwhelming that the player needs to control all of that.
Yeah.
In sort of that sense.
The thing that we made to, you know, ease that up is that you have squads, and you can give them a behavior. For instance, you can set a squad to guard a place or to go on patrol, and then you can leave them there and they will do their things. You can also tell a squad, okay, if you kill heroes, bring them to the torture chamber, bring them to the prison. So you can basically do like settings, like presets for your squads, so they will behave in a certain fashion. But for combat, you send them where you want them to fight, and then you can just leave them like that. You don't have to micromanage all the action of all the units in the squad. The way that we kind of ease that up, we did a system that when you mix and match different type of units, they will gain some perks. For instance, like you have a warlock with a priest and with a berserker, oh, you get like a 5% chance that you will have a shield that will appear when you get hit or whatever. So that way, you kind of customize your squad to exactly what you want, and then you just have to move it around where you want them to be. So.
So, and you lose that perk if one of them dies, right?
Yes. So you need to take care of your units.
All right. So where are you at in development with Empire at the moment?
We are almost finished. Actually, the game is bound to be released really soon. So stay tuned. It's going to be announced, like the release date is going to be announced like really soon.
All right. Looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, man.